Welcome to Best in Faction, a podcast about... Oh, wait. That's the wrong show. Hi, this is Chuck. I'm about to head out to the Seattle Grand Tournament in the morning, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through my list. But before we start taking a look at it, just want to kind of share. I mean, obviously, you'll see this is a big Armor and Contempt flex. I love the new rule. I love the durability it brings, and it certainly allows me to be bringing in more Chaos Space Marines. So if you're not aware of that, this new rule allows Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, and Sisters of Battle to ignore up to 1 armor penetration value of all incoming weapons. This is particularly powerful on 2 factions in my mind, the Thousand Suns and the Death Guard. So what could possibly be better than picking one of those 2 than splitting my army in half and having some Thousand Suns and some Death Guard? So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go ahead and start with the Thousand Suns. They go on a patrol, Cult of Time. I have an Infernal Master. He's mostly in charge of hanging out with the Scarab Occult Terminators. He's going to give them +1 strength on all their ranged weapons, and he's going to carry around the Umbralific Crystal and shake it at my opponent every turn and threaten to charge into their entire army if they don't keep me screened. He's got a helpful assistant, Ferryman, on disc to help him keep me around. I should also mention he has the Ether Stride, so he gets a 9-inch fly movement as well. I particularly like these kinds of characters with these buffs and the psychic powers to be able to move into the position they need to be in on the turn they need to do it. So I do definitely favor the value of moving. Over here, we get our 10 Scarab Occult Terminators. Very familiar loadout for all of you, I'm sure. 2 Scarab Occult Terminators have the missiles and the Deca gun. And then the Sorcerer has the upgrade that allows them to heal the unit at the beginning of each of my turns, so they are never wounded. This means that if I happen to get lucky and get a 9 on their cast, I can bring a Terminator back instead of healing 1 in the unit. They've brought around some servants. I have 20 Zangors. They have an instrument. And then just the 20 of them hanging out. And then a squad of 5 Chaos Spawn. And a single Chaos Spawn. Where's he at? There he is. The single Chaos Spawn is often sort of the first turn sacrifice to throw out onto an objective. Or if I'm going second, he'll sort of fly backwards and zone out a massive portion of the board with a fairly tough target. The Zangors and the larger squad of Spawn are going to try to get a 4-up invuln and possibly -1 to be hit, and move out into the board and functionally hold a large portion of the table with a pretty high defense for their low points cost, while the Terminators also jump around and do damage and cause my opponents at least try to divert their sources into 2 different directions. So that's the Thousand Suns portion. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Death Guard portion. I've got it led by a Nurgle Demon Prince. He has the Suppurating Plate, which is great. You know, he's got a 2-up save, but he also now ignores 1 AP with the Armor Contempt, so he's very difficult to get into. And then to top that off, I gave him the 5-up Feel No Pain. He's brought his little friend with him here, the Foul Blightspawn, and he has the upgraded Stench-vats, so he has the 6-inch aura of You Didn't Charge. If you put him in amongst the Terminators, their Terminators are difficult to shoot naturally, and then they're also difficult to charge at this point because you come in, you lose your first strike, you lose your charge, and then the Terminators hit you first. That makes it for a very, very difficult unit for someone to take action on. We go over here to the rest of the Death Guard. We have 2 drones with Fleshmowers. These are sort of my flankers. These keep my army wants to stay not balled up, but at least sort of central. This gives me something powerful out on the sides. They can hide behind buildings. They don't have to engage as long as nobody's sneaking around the side of me. And then the Thousand Suns Terminators are very good at a lot of 1 damage shooting and can tear up infantry. So what I needed was something that brought some powerful shooting. So I have 3 Plagueburst crawlers with the Entropy cannons, and the mortars still work just fine. If you can see the target, you put out quite a bit of damage. You don't really lose much here. And on top of this, these guys are incredibly durable. And the firepower that people want to be putting into these tanks is the same they want to put in the Terminators. So you end up in a situation where they have to make bad choices. So that's the list. We essentially have a brick of 1,000 Suns Terminators being supported by a Foul Blightspawn, being difficult to charge, difficult to shoot, some very high value casters, keeping them safe and putting out some mortal wounds, and then the shooting coming out of the Terminators and the shooters coming out of the Plagueburst crawlers. Other than that, there's just the flankers that we talked about. Get the Plague-Drones with the Fleshmowers, and then the Demon Prince relegated to, if I need the damage 3 up in the center, he'll be there. If not, he's up there doing a flanking job as well, or holding down the fort. So that's my list. Wish me luck this weekend. Should have a lot of fun. Looks like we're going to be playing 8 games, so that's going to be quite the marathon of gaming. Let's see if we can just zoom out here and get you an idea of what the whole thing looks like. There we go. That's my army for the weekend. Hope you all enjoy it. Please let me know if you have questions about it, or I'll try to follow up and catch me on the Best in Faction podcast, where I'm sure I'll be talking through some of my games and how the event went and like how I feel about the list from here on out. Talk to y'all later.